lounging, son.
Anyways, welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast.
Already starting the freaking episode off by laughter.
Yeah, well, that's what people come here for. My name's Ryan, and I got my boy Dylan with me. And today we have a lot of Fables to talk about. We are talking about 1001 Nights of Snowfall, which was an original graphic novel, and then we're talking about Volume 7 and Volume 8. And this is, like we said on another episode I think we talked about last week, we're trying to combine 2 volumes in one, but we also wanted to include 1001 Nights of Snowfall because that's kind of like Volume 6.5, I would say. That's when it was released. Yeah, I think we're pretty much just going to be talking Fables because there is a lot to cover. I mean, if you want, briefly, we can talk about what we read last week. I always read a lot. Real quick, I will say this. What's coming out on Wednesday? This book right here, dude. The Other History of the DC Universe.
Yeah, okay? I wanted to talk about that. Yo, John Ridley, bruh.
Dude, let me tell you something. You read it, right? Did you read it?
No, I haven't. I really haven't.
You have to read it.
It's literally sitting in my car right now.
You have to read it. I was blown away. I'm going to do a video to go through it because I think that's... I'm worried that not enough people are going to read this book, and I was blown away, and twice already that I was blown away. And
damn,
I love Black Lightning. I've liked the character. I wouldn't say he's one of my favorites, but dude, like the perspective of Black Lightning of the DCU, it's phenomenal, and it's a lot of prose. So like I was like, oh fuck, is it going to just be like just words on the side with one image? No. It's something else, dude. And Giuseppe Camuncoli, I think is how you say his art. Phenomenal. And I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're going with this past this, but like this is what Black Label. This is the kind of stuff I want to see, dude. If you're gonna have a label that's gonna have something unique, something mature, thought-provoking stories, this is where it's at. And you know what,
dude? This is fucking high fucking praise.
Yeah, I mean,
I
was blown
fucking hate
away.
Black Label.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of overall like Black Label. It kind of pisses me off, but like this is a shining example of what it can be and what I think it should be. For real, it's dope.
Yeah.
It's really dope. So, anybody listening to this, the video will drop this week. Along with the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. In case you're not picking it up, I'm going to go through, won't spoil anything, but I'm probably going to go through a few of the pages, do a quick little video review of it because I think it's important and I think people should definitely be picking this book up. So
that's fucking tight. I was excited for it already. Like it was literally one of the things. Like I don't take books home usually. Like I try to read it there, but I'm like, no, I need to sit down, chill, relax. Fucking absorb this shit. This shit's about to be cinematic as fuck. I flipped through a couple of the pages. Like, all right, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's not a quick read by any means because, like I said, it's a lot of prose. But holy shit, it's worth every fucking page. You know what I mean? Like you're not bored. It's just a unique look at the DCU, and it's coming at it from a minority character. That's why they're calling it The Other History, which I think is pretty dope. And John Ridley, dude, come on.
I think they're exploring different minority superheroes,
right?
Because I know they're going into an Asian superhero in the Fallen,
right?
Yeah. So I think this is going to be dope. I mean, we were just talking about it with Kamala Khan, how DC is like faltering on diverse, like series. Yeah. So this is appropriate. I feel like the timing for this is fucking fantastic. I wish it would have happened sooner, but
yeah, and this was a book that it was announced with 3 Jokers.
Yeah,
when Black Label started, so it's like I don't understand what took so long for those 2 book, like 3 Jokers and this, to come out when they were in the initial launch phase. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We've seen so many other books that were not even talked about come out. Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, Question, stuff like that.
But I mean, like, I'm really looking forward to it. This is gonna be really good. I hope this is This is a new wave of stuff. There's like a wave of stuff in the 2021. I'm pretty excited for, and like what they do with this is definitely something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah,
especially when they announced that John Ridley was going to be writing like a Batman story. Like, pretty excited for that too.
Yeah.
So where they go from here, who knows? But I'm here for it. Like, there's a lot of stuff. I read a Justice League, the metal tie-in. And I just have to say, like, I'm legitimately excited for Joshua Williamson's Future's Fate Justice League.
Yeah.
And I hope he goes into writing Justice League going
forward.
Ah.
Yeah, he said it when I interviewed him, and then he also said it on Twitter that he's only writing the Future State Justice League, but he's got other series that he's writing that he's very excited to write. But I think, like, whatever he writes, dude, he's like quietly one of the best writers, I think, in comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody.
I actually picked up the first trade for the Flash, for Josh Williams' Flash, and I know you'd be excited to hear that because I rarely pick up any fucking Flash. I literally have Flashpoint, Rebirth, and Flashpoint World of Batman. That's the only three things with Flash in the actual title.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Flash. If you want, we could do it. I'd be more than happy to do an episode.
Oh, okay,
on our Williamson Flash Volume 1 to get your perspective as somebody that does not read Flash. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, I'm definitely all for it, especially since I just like I'd say like a month or two ago, I just finished the first book of Mark Waid's Flash. Yeah. So we could do that.
Okay, yeah. So we'll do Flash next week. Cool. All right, so I'll pick it up at the shop. So let's just jump into Fables, dude. Fuck it. I'm not reading off this large creator list. My bad to anybody that is watching that worked on the book. It's just the list would be too long. I'd be here for fucking 10 minutes reading off every single credit. But we all know Bill Willingham wrote it.
Yeah.
And then we
a whole myriad of artists, dude.
Yeah, but obviously Mark Buckingham would be the main artist. Sean McManus, a lot of people, John Bolton. Stuff like that, but very Vertigo heavy. First off, let's talk about 1001 Nights of Snowfall. Basically, the premise of this is Snow White goes to the Arabian fable town. While it's still in the old world, she basically gets sent to the Sultan's chambers, and he is going to kill her. And the way she prolongs it, because he takes a wife every night. And then he kills her, and he tells the story of how that happens. I don't think it's completely necessary to say why he does it, but basically what she does to prolong it is she tells him a story, and the whole thing is that she tells him every night, and the stories she's telling him are stories of herself and other fable characters that we all know and love.
It's basically like a series of origin stories that we were all like longing for like a good chunk of this. I'm like, because like they drop hints here and there, or oh, what you did there, or what you did here, or don't you think I forgot this? Like, dude, it's pretty crazy.
The only thing and then you go as I know that we know about Snow White. I feel like we learn more later on. Yeah. So, but in this one, we just see how she fucking. I mean, dude, I'll straight up say it, dude. Like, she kills the dwarves. You know what I mean? Like, that's
she kills the 7 dwarves. I'm about to go into like my first 48 shit right now because I watch a lot of freaking investigative shit with my wife.
Just like
and freaking, you can tell by like how the story, how like each dwarf dies, she just gets better at killing. Like the first, obviously, like a crime of passion because there was like multiple stab wounds and shit. And then as it goes along, it becomes more precise, more like elaborate, more like,
But it's cool though because Prince Charming trains her, and how he like. I loved how he fucking figured it out, but he still protected her. Yeah. Like, we never saw that side of Prince Charming. Like, they only, like, in the previous volumes, like, they touch on, like, okay, he married her, but then he was a womanizer, and done. But we really get more insight into their relationship in the very beginning, which I thought was also very interesting, because like I said, I've read the whole series, but I never read this one. So.
Yeah. So, and then there's a lot of standout stories here. I really like Bigby's story. Like how it was just like it was all about revenge for him the entire time. Like he just made vows and he stuck to his vows about like he was the hunter and everything he killed would be bigger than the last thing he killed. Like, you know what I mean? And then it just stopped at humans, and then he's killing humans.
Yeah, dude. I love how we get how his name came to be.
Yeah.
Too, because like he was the runt of the litter, and all his brothers were just ragging on him, dude. Oh, you're the big bad wolf. You know what I mean? So then they're like, oh, we'll call him Bigby. And we also see how, you know, the North Wind, who's his father, anybody that's listening, you should, if you're this far with us, you should know that the North Wind is his father, and he can take the form of any creature, anything on the planet, right? And he saw this wolf, and he was like just so captivated by her beauty that he's like, I need to have her. So like he changes into a wolf, and for 3 seasons, I believe he said, he was with her, and then he just abandons her. And you know, as Bigby's getting older, like you said, like he wants to be the strongest, right? So he's like left, and he just first he takes on like a little cricket, you know what I mean? Like that's all he could. That's all he could kill. And then, like you said, eventually he gets a taste for humans, dude, and he just gets bigger and bigger. And then year after year, he tries to kill the North Wind, but he can't. And yeah, dude, it was cool to see that again. Like, I wish I had read this sooner, because like I feel like I should have read it back then in between, but I just didn't know. And
I felt like a lot of the fables that were talked about here, like it gives you like an explanation to them, but not just so much as an explanation as to how they came about, but also it drives them now as characters. Obviously, Bigby is very much it shows in the volume we're about to talk about, but Bigby shows very much how much like being a father means to him, because he had a shitty dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and so one character who like I've just absolutely loved since the freaking battle of freaking March of the Wooden Soldiers, freaking Frau Totenkinder.
Oh my god, dude! I know.
Like she's just this angry, like she's literally a witch. There's like she even tells it. So basically, what happens is like it's the story of Snow White and Rose Red, how they escaped the homelands, and they talk about how their envoy was attacked, so they ran into the woods and they found the gingerbread house, but it was all burnt up, and you know they opened the oven and the freaking witch is still in there.
I know, she's so morbid, dude.
The witch was still in there, so she was like zombie Frau Totenkinder for a while, but during this time, like, you know, they're feeding her, and, you know, obviously Snow has her distrust because Snow is Snow, and she freaking, like, you know, that Frau Totenkinder shares the story of just how fucking terrible she was. She really was terrible. There's like, but she's honest about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she does. She's not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
By any means. Yeah.
Yeah. And she kind of did what she had to do, and she did what she had to do. And like her origin story basically talks about how she was like a summoning, a high priestess, and how she freaking could see things. And then it goes to branch out that she literally is the wicked witch of all the tales of almost everything, like Rapunzel.
She called Rapunzel a slut.
Yeah, dude, she called Rapunzel a slut. She's the one that turned Flycatcher into a frog.
Yeah, and she put the curse on the beast.
Yeah.
So again, like I didn't know any of this, dude. Like this is like it was a little mind blowing for me.
Yeah, I really that was the evolution of her character and how like they literally played, you know, because Jack couldn't be the Jack of everything. Jack was literally the Jack of everything, but this is the witch of everything. And it was just really crazy. Like a lot of the origin stories were just fucking fantastic. I think the most heart-wrenching, and I think you would agree, was Flycatcher.
Dude, that killed me, bro. Because you have like Flycatcher. I'm not spoiling anything, but he is a very important character, very important in this entire series, and you'll see him more. Like, there's a reason that he gets a little bit of shine. You know what I mean? Like that, you always see him, right? Like if you notice, going back to volume, you always see Flycatcher, but he will his importance becomes known later on. But like. And I don't know how I went this whole time. Like, I just never knew. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, now knowing, I think it's going to change my reading experience going forward. And it actually did. Knowing that now, then reading 7 and 8, I'm like, I just look at him. I'm like, oh. I just, like, literally, like, I read that scene, like, and you learn where his family goes, his wife and his kids. And I don't want to ruin it. Like, just read it. But it's very sad.
It's very sad. And it's, like, it just gets sadder.
Yeah, and what's worse is that then, like, after like something bad happens, he doesn't even remember. So like he doesn't even know where they are or how they, you know, like they disappeared or how they're gone. And there was a funny moment in there, and it's because it's how he continues to change into a frog whenever he gets afraid.
Yeah.
And his wife tells him she's pregnant, and you just see like his eyes get big, and then he shrinks down into a frog, and which kind of also plays into the fact of how he wasn't able to protect his family because he got afraid and he turned into a frog and was helpless to protect or save them from the events that happened. And that in itself just like it just made it so emotional. Yeah, dude. I was literally sad reading that book. I'm like, oh
yeah. But I think 1001 Arabian Tales.
1001 Nights of Snowfall.
So 1001 Nights of Snowfall. I think that this is definitely one of the more standout issues, just because, like, you know, it was great timing when they freaking, you know, put it in between, you know, 6 and 7, because you know, I mean, like, we're already invested in these characters, we're already wondering, and then just to like add these elements of like understanding, like, I think it was perfectly timed. I think this is definitely one of the standout issues, and I love how when it's talking about like Snow talking to the Arabian king, and it goes into full storybook mode where it's just like one picture and then you know, a bunch of paragraphs. I tolerate that, and I'm glad that when they switched into actual tales, it went back into comic format, comic panel format. Like, because I don't know if I would have stuck through.
Yeah. Dude, I opened it up. I was like, wait a second, is this prose? And then I'm like, oh fuck this, dude. I don't know if I can do this. Like, and read 2 more trades, and then I flipped ahead. I'm like, okay, all right, it's comic book, so I can deal with that. But I mean, the prose is fine.
I also like the choices in the artists for each of the tales, and how it switched up and how everything had its own unique look. That was fantastic. You know, mainly the I really liked the art for Frau Totenkinder. That was, I don't know, something about it was just eerie, and
same.
You know what I mean. It had just had an eerie air about it, like the entire time, like, because she's a fucking witch, and there's like we said, there's no hiding it. And I believe that the art made it more like it burned itself into my head. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah. But 1001 Nights of Snowfall was fantastic.
Yeah, which leads us to Arabian Nights and Days, which is first time. Well, I guess it's not the first time, but technically, I mean, if you're just reading the volumes, this will be the first time you're meeting a lot of the Arabian fables. And I think the only famous one you really meet off the bat is Sinbad. I think like what the whole point of it is that they're trying to combine forces.
They're trying to ally up, basically. But anyway, the refugees are first, and they're trying to discuss their transition to Fabletown. But, like, you know, totally ill-prepared, Prince Charming, you know, he sends out Mowgli, who is the emissary who negotiated the deal at first, to go look out for Bigby. We'll circle back to that later, but that's where Mowgli is. He's looking for Bigby, and you see him throughout the 2 volumes up until like the second half of the 8th volume. That Mowgli is just like on a fucking wild goose chase right now. He's just trying to find Bigby, and Bigby.
Well, that's the next one. That's the next trade.
No, but I know, but in 7 they touch on where Mowgli is. Because remember, like, he's in because Prince Charming is like, oh, he's on a secret mission for me.
Okay. And yeah. I'm sorry. It's hard to like differentiate because you read so much. Yeah.
It's a lot. So they circle back, and then basically the Arabian fable, the lords of the Arabian fables are there, and it's fucking funny because obviously Prince Charming forgot, because these fools they're literally sitting in their limo for like hours waiting to be greeted. Because they're different kinds of fables, and they haven't been to the New World, so they don't know about the pleasantries and about like the etiquette that goes down. But the thing is, Prince Charming didn't even fucking remember. But Flycatcher is there. Flycatcher does his Flycatcher thing, all super suspicious, goes out there and gets yelled at.
I think there was a moment too early on in the trade, because you can see that like Prince Charming is a little bit overwhelmed with like all of his new responsibilities. Like he thought it was going to be a cakewalk and just like glad handling, you know. And you start to see like King Cole, he did a lot more than just like
King Cole. Dude. King Cole's origin too was fantastic. That was in
yes, you're right.
That King Cole's origin was fantastic. I always wondered how the hell this freaking dolt got freaking elected mayor, but then it makes sense. Like with that story, it makes total sense, and it made me like the character more.
Yeah, same here. I didn't really care either way for him in the main series, but this one definitely made me like him. But yeah, you're seeing like Prince Charming's just like he's burning the candle at both ends, right? Like he's not as prepared to fucking have all these working parts because if you think about it, he's kind of taken the role of King Cole of running it and being the mayor, but also doing some of the shit that Snow White was doing some of the shit that Bigby was doing because now he's got his little, you know, missions with Boy Blue, with Mowgli. Snow White never did that shit, and King Cole never did that shit.
So that was all Bigby.
Exactly. So I start to feel this is again like we start to see more of growth in Prince Charming, but then he falls back in his old routine where he fucking tries to make a pass at Beauty, and I was like,
shout out to Beauty though.
Yeah, dude, she's like, nah, dude, I only love one person. You know what I mean?
You're fucking tripping, dog.
Yeah,
fucking tripping, homie.
Yeah, and then I like too because we get the moment of Beauty getting called out on how she is. Like, oh, you guys are always bickering, but really it's just one-sided. Like, basically say that you're always on his ass. He's not really on your ass at all. And I know it's just a small part of this volume, but it's funny because it's always those like smaller stories within the story that really stand out to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and then she ends up going and like she doesn't tell Beast because obviously Beast probably would have fucking slaughtered fucking Prince Charming. He would have fucking ripped his goddamn head off. You know, I like that. I like that interaction between Beauty because it doesn't ever get touched on again. She basically says, "Don't do it again. We're not going to talk about this, but just know that if I do tell him, you're pretty much dead." Yeah. And I like that. And in this too, like we see Sinbad, and I don't know a whole lot about Sinbad. You know what I mean?
The cunning pirate, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I know enough. But it's his like vizier or wazir or however you want to say it. Like they call it. It's with the Wazir. But he's like got his whole plot to fucking with the genie to like kind of like take over and assert his power. And he's got his own like faction of people that are supposedly supporters of Sinbad.
Yeah.
But are really supporters of him.
Yeah, it's basically like he's trying to run a magical coup. Like you know what I mean? He has his own little setup. Freaking they bring the genie bottles, which essentially how Fabletown kind of takes it as an act of war.
Of course,
because I mean I totally get it because like you know when they made that comparison, like bringing a genie into Fabletown is like bringing freaking nuke into a meeting with the UN. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. I mean,
and then they explain how bad freaking genies are.
Oh
dude.
My god. Evil.
This is wild, dude.
And dude, you
like,
know,
it's not Robin Williams, bro.
Yeah, and what's cool too is because like the genie gets sent on these 3 wishes, right? And the whole point is like you have to wish the genie back in on the 3rd wish because of how fucking evil they are and what they'll do if given freedom, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't wish him back into the bottle. He makes his 3 wishes for all his power and all this shit, right? But then we see the first mission or first wish carried out. And it doesn't seem like it's exactly what he asked for. And like that's like the first inklings that you get like, okay, wait, something else is going on. And then, you know, finding out like fucking Frau, dude, again, she fucking cast a goddamn spell to change the words that came out of his fucking mouth.
Bro, if I was to like compare X-Men to like characters in Fables, I'd be like Frau is like Magneto, bro. Like she's just freaking powerful and just like that inkling of menacing.
She's
you know
like
I mean?
She's like Onslaught, Magneto, and Professor X.
That's
right. Like, I mean, she literally is because she's fucking doing all sorts of shit we don't even know. And and she's always knitting something. I'm 100% sure something happens with that. Like you notice, she's never without her fucking needle and thread.
Yeah.
Always. Like, so there's something that ends up playing out, and I'm noticing it more on this read because I didn't realize that basically started at the beginning of the series, that she's always knitting. And that ends up playing out later on. I mean, I'm digressing from what we're talking about. But and then like King Cole now is the emissary, because like I said, like Prince Charming, how he's in over his head, and King Cole kind of like steps in because he can speak. He can speak their language. Yeah, he can speak Arabic, and then like when they're interrogating Sinbad, Prince Charming gets so pissed off. He's like, "English, man, come on, just speak in English," like because he doesn't understand. And like King Cole's kind of talking shit about Prince Charming in a way,
but like it's like underhanded, but it's also like, I mean, the way this fool talks, like he totally talks like someone trying, like an Arab fool trying to butter you up, like, you know what I mean?
And it's
like.
And it makes you kind of respect him a little bit more, because he, in the beginning of the series, he kind of seems like this bumbling, like, oh, whatever, kind of like mayor, but he's actually very intelligent in the way of how he's going about his business.
And his politics. He's a politician through and through.
For sure. And now he's the emissary for the Middle Eastern fables and stuff, and they go to Baghdad, and he's like, oh, we're going to make our own little fable town here. And then they go down into like this like fucking like blown up building into these caves and realize, oh shit, they don't need help. They're still
they're totally fine.
They're living in the homelands, and they're still living there, and because like the adversary, which it talked about in I think volume 6, right? That they haven't gotten over there yet, so they still have years before they even have to worry about it.
Yeah,
and then
I was getting a little confused too, because you know how the timelines and the stories, they jump around, so I get confused as to like where exactly things are in real time as far as the story goes, because like they're like, oh, they're refugees from the homelands because the freaking the invasion started. I'm like, wait, but the invasion didn't even start and thing. Did they jump all the way to that already? Like, but then after the big reveal, like it was a part of Sinbad's plan all along. It's like, we're totally fine, but there's an inevitability here, and we just want to make sure we've covered all our bases, that we can just go straight to fucking Fabletown and be okay.
Yeah,
it was like all fucking elaborate plan. It was a game of chess, dude. It was a game of chess, and like friggin' King Cole and Sinbad throughout the entire thing, they have their intelligent conversations, and like they're literally just playing chess mentally and physically. They're literally playing chess, and they're literally playing friggin' this whole politics game with each other. Which I was like, man, this is I. There's a lot of realizations that's coming with the past two, with the 6.5 and 7. Like a lot of people are not who we expected them to be, and they're actually better.
Yeah,
like beauty, like that she's definitely outshone herself. Prince Charming, like he's involved with everything, like, and I respect the hell out of that. That he is stretching himself a little thin, definitely, like absolutely, but the effort is phenomenal. Like he's not the prince. He's not what I expected from like my first my first readings of him back in volume 1, when he was like sleeping with the hostess at a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely changed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's still a scumbag.
I mean, he's a lovable scumbag now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like now you like don't hate him.
Yeah, now I don't hate him, and like it's pretty handy with a sword, obviously.
yeah. And at the end of volume 7, first of all, you say it's like they're playing chess, and it's funny that you say that, because it's kind of like Bill Willingham is playing chess, and the board keeps getting bigger, and there's more pieces, right? Like he just keeps growing this world of characters, and he's juggling them in such a way that it's damn near perfect. Like you know what I mean? Like
everything is very seamless, dude. Everything,
all
like
the
his transitions to
everything. It just works so great. And volume 7 ends with the two wooden soldiers, or two wooden characters who end up falling in love and want to. And we'll talk about it briefly. They fall in love and they want to be human. And the male wooden soldier, right?
Yeah, Rodney. Rodney and June.
Right. He tries to write a letter to Geppetto to become human, and his superior fucking gets pissed at him and says, how dare you do that? Like, if a spy catches this, like, they're gonna know, and you're saying that the adversary doesn't really have power, all that shit. And bottom line is, they end up getting to Geppetto and turned human, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And I think that like the cost is where that story is powerful. It's not the lead up to it. It's like, okay, yes, it's more humorous. Like when they're trying to figure out, oh, how do you show affection? Well, we don't have those parts, so we can't, like, they can't have sex,
when
right?
they try to kiss, dude.
Yeah, and
When
they
try
just
to
like banging their heads against
bang faces against each other, dude.
yeah,
Right.
but I think that the price they pay is fuck, that's powerful, right? Like
Yeah.
they basically their price is their souls because like they really have to fucking do stuff that they were trying to get away from. They were trying to get away from the war. They end up having to carry out some things from the adversary that are like murder. I mean, they don't show it, but they allude to like murder and stuff like
murder
that.
and just espionage in the fullest, but also they're just trying to raise their baby normal.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to raise their baby, and it's crazy.
It's weird.
I especially like that story because like after March of the Wooden Soldiers, like you kind of understand why the people of the wood have a strong disdain for meat, which is humans.
Yeah.
You know,
and I love how they call us.
Yeah, and they go off into all these like tangents of like how disgusting humans are, but like yeah, that stuff is disgusting. Like the way they put it sounds gross, right?
Yeah.
But then they don't. But then as the people of the wood, they don't feel the same things as humans do. They don't feel the affection. They don't feel what it's like to kiss someone. They don't, like they don't feel what makes us human. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then finally they get an inkling for it, and I just thought that was absolutely funny and beautiful. Like how, you guys can't kiss. Like,
yeah. I know, it's like I'll never get that image out of my head. You just see their two wooden heads, and like you can almost hear the sound of like that, like the knocking.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love that. I was saying that's weird because like he fucking in the middle of arcs, he has these stories where like fucking two wooden. Who the fuck cares about them? But he makes you care about them in 2 issues. You actually give a fuck about these characters that, for lack of a better word, are kind of meaningless, right, in the overall story. But he does that in such a way that like it doesn't take you out of the main narrative, and it just gives you a little. It's almost like a little cherry on top, right, of building out this world.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because like they come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? All these little the small stories, they come out of nowhere, and it's like, damn, we didn't need to know that. We didn't need any of that. No. Like, but wow. And it just goes to show like how perfectly fleshed out he has the world, how much he's put thought into like every character. Like even like, you don't in chess, you don't really think about pawns. And for all intents and purposes, it's just like the wooden soldiers, they're pawns. They're the strongest pawns out there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Highly indispensable. You could always get them back. Like, you know what I mean? And, like he makes you care about it. Look at this. Like, look at these fucking sad ass puppets.
I know, dude. Can you imagine like the notebooks he has of like all this shit? Like he's got to have like some sort of like a little Bible of like these characters, these side characters and stuff. Because I mean, and if he was just like writing maybe arc to arc, I mean, I'm sure he wasn't winging it. I'm sure he had like an end game and then filled in the middle. But like, dude, there's never a point where this series falters, and I'm telling you that now. I mean, not just up until where you've read, but throughout. It doesn't falter. It just like it continues to stay good. It's like it never. There's never a point where I'm like, oh fuck, dude. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I need to stop. Like there's a reason why I kept like picking up 2 trades at a time, and I was going twice a week sometimes because I was reading it so fast.
No, it's great, and I volume 8.
Yeah, let's talk about it. You go first because I know how much you love. But I know that
my motherfucker, dog.
Yeah.
Bigby's my motherfucker. Like first and foremost, like this is essentially he's
Wolverine.
This is the Wolverine story, bro. This is literally a Wolverine story. Like right down to it. Even when like he ends up in Alaska. Of course he ends up in Alaska.
Of course.
Drunk.
Yeah. I mean it's exactly that like Willingham was definitely like there's some Wolverine in this fucking character. And if not, dude, like no, he has to. It has to be.
He has to. Yeah, and like right down to the look. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely the archetype. You know what I mean? Big B Wolf. If Wolverine has an archetype, it's Big Bad Wolf.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And what I love about this is the lengths in which he went to be with his family. Like you know, like as we said in 1001 Nights of Snowfall, you know, it talks about how he had like a really strong disdain for his father, what he did to his father. He never forgot what his father did to his mother, how he just left. And that kind of became a recurring thing as far as the North Wind goes. The North Wind is kind of a dick, but he's an all-powerful dick. But he's an all-powerful dick.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when he found out that there was genie, the genie made its way to Fabletown, he was like, "Yeah, I could kill him, but we destroy the world if you know." And after like to do so, and I was like, "Damn, he's that powerful." And then you know, Rose Red was like, "Damn, you're that powerful."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really love too about wolves, and I think that I think this is why out of the three that we read, this was my favorite. Like, I forgot how fucking dope Mowgli is as a character.
Yeah.
I really forgot how dope he was, because it's like I said, it's been a while since I've read it, and I think this is the height of Mowgli, right? We see him tracking down Bigby.
Yeah,
but he also was
like
raised
a year.
and he
for a year.
And you think about it, he was raised by a pack of wolves, and now he is tracking a wolf. And how does he go about doing it? He talks to fucking wolves in their native tongue, you know, and like nobody else could have had this mission. Nobody would have thought, and he even alludes to that later on, like, I was the only man for the job, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, and how he's tracking him, and then like as he's talking to these wolves, like they refer to Bigby as like their god.
Yeah,
right?
The wolf god.
And how he's running with the packs, and then he uses his powers, you know, like the wind powers that he has from his father, to kind of make people lose his tracks, and he leads them. He purposely is misleading Mowgli, right? And then Mowgli figures out like how to fucking track him anyway. And I think that when we learn how Bigby got away, that's pretty crazy, because like that's powerful. That he's very like he swims for fucking days on one single breath, because he can hold his breath for that long. Like, that shit's dope, you know?
And not only like he didn't just like swim across a lake, he like swam from Russia to Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's like, it's nuts. And I loved watching Mowgli, like how he fucking, like, in order to question that first pack of wolves, he has to take down the leader of the pack.
And that was vicious.
He fucking strips down, dude, and he fucking goes at it, man. Like, that was a vicious fight.
That shit was vicious, dude. That shit was. I didn't know how it was gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously Mowgli was gonna win. Like, there's no doubting that, obviously. But it was just like that was a pretty brutal fight. Like,
yeah,
and even how it ended.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, dude, yeah. When you just see when he throws like the leader of the pack, and he just like throws him down on that rock, and you just see the snap.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
But the wolf is still alive.
And I heard the snap in my head. I heard it. Like,
I clenched up. I was like, oh god damn, dude, that looks fucking painful.
Visually, the representation of like Mowgli and how he's essentially like the greatest tracker in the world. If you fucking found you found Bigby. Like, you know what I mean? You have to be the greatest tracker in the world. Yeah. You have to be the greatest tracker in the world. It's pretty cool. Then you know, when he finds him, he's just chilling in a cabin in Alaska, drunk. like drunk in a flannel and jeans, in true Wolverine fashion. You know what I mean? Like,
he just smells the whiskey as he opens the door. I love that too. He's like, it's like whiskey in here. And Bigby's fucking trash, dude. And then what was really fucking crazy is we see that he's been with someone.
He's been with someone, and you know, it's kind of like Wolverine and Silver Fox, dude. Like,
dude, I know the parallels. I mean, I literally for a second I'm like, it's like I'm reading a Wolverine story, right?
It's a Wolverine story.
I mean, we learned that obviously he has to tell Snow White, but I think you know, like, he's in so much pain because he can't be with his family. He's not allowed on the farm. You know what I mean? Like,
where Snow White and the six of her kids are.
Yeah, 6, because the 7th one is with him, Ghost. Yeah. The gust of wind. You know what I mean?
The wisp.
And like Mowgli tells him, like, we need your help, right? And we have a way for you to be with your family. And That's the whole reason that Charming sent him out, because then they go after Mowgli recruits him and he leaves his fucking isolation with his chick, and comes back. We get to the beanstalk, dude, and fucking and they're going up. This is where this fucking book fucking just like phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I think it was the oversized 50th issue, obviously, right? Because it was that chunk of the book was pretty big. And he goes up, he climbs the fucking beanstalk, and we don't even know really what's gonna happen. Who meets him up there? Fucking Cinderella. And
the spy of spies, bro.
Yeah, and he's scared. He doesn't want to let go of the beanstalk because he's like, I'm not built like you guys. Like I don't like heights. It's like, and it's weird, dude. Like, because you don't really ever see any kind of fear or anxiety in Bigby, and we see that here. And he fucking goes off, and then we see this mission that like they're gonna go on, because the kingdom in the clouds, they are over everything, over the world and over the homeland, so they can drop down wherever. And then we see
strategic gold mine.
I know, it's insane. We Secret Agent Bigby, dude. He gets fucking dropped down into the homelands, and where does he go? He goes to fucking Geppetto's fucking cottage.
Dude, that was the dopest shit. If that's not the most Wolverine shit I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, what was your initial reaction? I mean, could you have foreseen that he was going to go that route?
I didn't realize until I saw the cabin that where exactly he was going, and then when he freaking laid it all out and told him exactly what's about to happen. Like he did the whole Israel comparison, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. And he's like, but we're just gonna come back harder. And, I'm not going to leave here without going hard.
Yeah.
Blows this shit up. Blows the whole cottage up. Kills all the guards. Like in the swift of the night. Like, this the most Bigby shit ever. Like, this shit was... dude. And the simple fact that freaking this fool, Prince Charming, was masterminding this whole shit.
I know,
phenomenal.
Dude. Yeah. I mean,
phenomenal.
Fucking... And, oh yeah, and I forgot to even talk. I forgot to talk about too is that Boy Blue, fucking his trial. He either we forgot to talk about because like we're talking about Prince Charming and all these things. Like the reason he has all the information is because of Boy Blue. Prince Charming is like reading his sentences out to him. He's like, "Oh man, this is hard to do." He's like, "Fucking don't complain about it now." And then you see Boy Blue acting badass, and he's like, what are you bitching about it for? You wanted this power, right? So now deal with it and just fucking say what you got to say, dude, and call it a day. So he's either got 2 years at the farm or a year in lockup, right? And he chooses the life at the farm, but Rose Red isn't going to give him any hard fucking duties, you know what I mean? Because he's a hero and everybody loves him, right? And so like this mission that he sends Bigby on is just another, in my eyes, another win for Prince Charming, and shows the cunningness of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not just a cunning fighter. His mind is pretty fucking brilliant too, and like working all these parts. He initially, like, one of the main missions is to fucking kill the blue fairy, to take away the power from Geppetto, but he can't kill her. And like burning, and then after he burns the cottage, he doesn't fucking leave Geppetto and Pinocchio, because Pinocchio won't leave with him. So he takes them and he leaves them. So basically, this is what we're gonna do to you. You keep fucking with us, we're gonna come at you even harder. So fucking remember this. And burns the woods. He's like, I know this will regrow, but this is gonna set you back quite some time before you're.
I say at least an age before you can start setting back up, and that's phenomenal. That's strategically that's so good.
And I love that, even though Bigby had come back, he, Rose Red's like, do you want me to tell Snow anything? And he's like, no, because if I don't make it back, they don't need the heartache, right? Yeah. And even like earlier in the book, like we also see that Snow White's got the kids taking Christmas pictures and shit, for
just doing all this stuff for a family,
right? And we end up learning that while the kids think Bigby's getting these things, he hasn't been. And that's where once the mission's complete, like we see Bigby gets his reward, right? He can't go on the farm, but he gets land near the farm. And Rose Red's taking Snow, and she's like, oh, this is where I leave you. Just keep walking. And she's like, well, is this another joke? And that scene Snow seeing Bigby after all this time, because it's been years, was fucking amazing. It was powerful, dude. You know, and immediately she leads him, or she finds out about the other chick. She's like, we'll talk about that fucking later. But she leads him to this.
Come with me.
Yeah, she leads him to the cave, and dude, all these fucking birthday, Christmas cards that she's been sending, like, just shows you like what an amazing mom she was. She didn't want her kids to think that their dad didn't love them, you know? And she's like, you better fucking read every fucking card. You better look at every gift that they sent you and every gift you sent them.
So and you better remember who sent you what.
Yeah.
And what you reply. Here's the replies to the letters. Like, it was very sweet.
Yeah.
You know? And I think, like, you know, and it culminates, the volume 8 culminates with, you know, the actual wedding. The wedding. And you know what I love? Like, this especially with his origin story, like King Cole, like how he's just like, I'm just trying to get back. Like, and he's actually a day and a half early.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and it turns out that he ends up officiating the marriage, which is fantastic because it's like, you know, when you get a glimpse of King Cole, like and his origin story, he's always been a man of the people, and you see that because he chooses to feed them over himself, which also gets him emaciated, almost sick. And you know, but you can feel just how important, like, him being there for Snow and for Bigby, who he's known and worked with for centuries. So it was very important to him. I just love that. Like, I just totally felt the heart and all that.
I know that splash page was amazing. Just them fucking like standing there, giving their vows and stuff, and like I said, like, they are at the heart of this book. There is also the relationship between Snow and Rose Red, but seeing Bigby finally being able to see his kids again, you know what I mean, and then even finding out that his dad, who he fucking hates, was helping like train them, like, that fucking pissed him off. I can't wait till we get to the part where they eventually like see each other again, and because the North Wind says that there's a change in the winds, and he leaves.
Yeah,
and they don't really. I mean, we don't learn why. But I like also, you know, Ghost, who Bigby named, you know, the Wisp of Wind, gets to see his mom again because she's like, did he ever find you? Another fucking was a little moment before they get married that happens. And he, you know, and how he proposes, right, was pretty fucking sweet because, like, they build the cabin. He's like, we can have this life. I think you're over the glamour and the fucking fairy tale ending. I mean, he doesn't say it in those words, but basically that's how he proposes to her. And Mark Buckingham is just such a fantastic artist, and he really is, I would say, just as integral to this series as Bill Willingham is for writing it. Like, even though there's other artists that draw the, you know, the couple issue stories, like even in this last volume 8, we have Sean McManus do the Cinderella story also. But Mark Buckingham, like, his issues are the only ones that have those borders on the pages, you know, and I think that really adds to the storybook feel. I
like how every time it changes, the header on the borders changes to that particular. Like, there's a Boy Blue one. There's, you know what I mean. There's a particular Beauty and the Beast one. There's a rose. Like, you know what I mean. It changes per fable, and it gives this kind of added effect of like, this is what you should be feeling right now. It's pretty dope, dude. Like, I love the borders. Easily one of my favorite little small things in this book. Like, especially when Boy Blue, like a couple of volumes back, when Boy Blue was talking to Geppetto, and like he was actually in a cage. So they had, instead of like Boy Blue's head with the trumpets, it's literally a bluebird in a cage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, damn, that is just the little things, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's all the little details that they put into this book that I think are what make it so special and such a powerful story. And I just can't wait for us to continue on. I mean, and like I said, like the Cinderella story at the end, they eventually do a Cinderella series. I think she has a few mini series. There's a few.
I feel like this was like I feel like this issue was like their tester to see how it would be received if Cinderella got her own story. And I'm sure, I mean, I received it quite well, so I'm sure like a lot of people did also. Like, you know, give Cinderella more stories, and you know, like, I just want to see if they're gonna, if we find out later that if I find out later that there's a friggin' series with just Bigby stories, I'm down for that. I might have to read that on my own, but you know.
Yeah, I wish they did that. I wish they did a Bigby series. But yeah, I'm sorry to be the one to rain on your parade.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wishes we could get more, like that they would revisit these characters, but I know that it'll never happen. But at the same time, I am glad for the stories we do have because they do hold up when you read them again over and over. And look, I mean, Jack of Fables, I never read when it first came out, but I'm reading that now. I picked up some of the Cinderella trades. I'm gonna read those.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, it's a lot of reading. You know? So I mean, I feel like whatever they did and the amount of time that they did it, I feel like it's all special. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not even halfway through it, and I love these fucking characters. Yeah. You know, it's not something I would have ever been able to say like, yeah, that storybook shit is dope. Like, like you know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know, it's definitely a step away from the norm, and it definitely gives new life to these characters. And you know, it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to tell my kids about it. Like, you know, obviously when they're smaller, we're going to read them the fairies, actual fairy tales. Yes. But then, you know, as they get a little older, you can start telling them, "Oh, hey, did you know that?" Da 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 da. Like, you know what I mean? And start like, you know, adding to their own, like adding, like this story, this version of Fables, it just makes these eternal characters just that much better. You know what I mean?
I agree, for sure.
It's something to add to their whole entire mythos. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody knows about the story of Rapunzel. Everybody knows the story about Hansel and Gretel. But, you know, those stories were more like were life lessons, or you know, just supposed to teach children lessons. Whereas, you know, I feel like Fables will further on their legend and add like more substance to those stories. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's amazing.
If any of you guys listening or watching now haven't been reading along with us, it's now even easier to read Fables because now they're releasing the compendiums. The first compendium just came out. I think it has the first 40 issues, and then it has that 1001 Nights of Snowfall as well. So I think you guys, so definitely check that out. I think it's $50-$60, whatever. It's a great deal for as much stories you're getting, and it is. I mean, I feel like it's a huge win for me that I got you to read the book. I know you don't really fight me on too much when I'm like, oh, I think you'll like it. So it wasn't that hard to get you to read the book, but at the same time, I'm glad that we're doing this because it is such a special story, and I feel like that more people should read it if they haven't read it. And I love how much you're enjoying it because it makes me enjoy it even more reading it with you. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely all you guys listening, definitely pick this up because it is a shining example of what made Vertigo special.
I mean, you think storybook tales and Vertigo don't go together, but it's exactly the kind of like, you know, marriage you'd expect from storybooks and Vertigo. You know, Vertigo has that, you know, had that history of like, you know, pushing shit to the edge. So why not push freaking storybook characters to the edge? And they like so far. So I've seen that they freaking executed freaking flawlessly.
Yeah, I mean,
all these characters are lovable, even the shitty characters. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. So main message, guys: read Fables. You're not gonna be disappointed. Yeah. And then before we get out of here, is there anything you're looking forward to that's coming out this week?
Mad Cave Studios Stargazer 3.
Okay.
I love it. It's the X-Files, dude. It's an X-Files story.
All right.
It's literally what it is. Like right down to freaking alien abductions to freaking kids thinking they're on acid. It's crazy.
I mean, I think I have the first issue at home. I still have to read it. I'm probably just gonna wait for the trade so that I'm not like, because I don't think we don't have it at the shop. It's a smaller publisher, so it's like we only do special order for that. But I know you've been talking about that book. Obviously, we already talked about other history of the DCU.
I don't know how I feel about it because it's just more play on the Batman Who Laughs, but I'm gonna read it. But the Multiverse Who Laughs, like
I read it.
So what do you think? I'm gonna catch up. Like I'm literally trying to catch up on all metal.
I mean, I've kind of been enjoying all of them. I just, some more than others, but I like the Robin King one was the only one that I just didn't read. But I liked this one. You know what I mean? It was good.
Yeah.
It had some cool stories in there. Had some. I think there was a Steel story, and I love Steel, so that was pretty. It was a pretty dope book, dude. It's definitely worth reading for sure. I mean, I think the book I'm most excited for is Daredevil this week. You know, so now that you're caught up, you better read that one.
What do you mean? I'm excited for that too.
Yeah. It's fucking dope. And then
it's gonna be great.
New X-Men. I think the Ten of Swords is ending this week, so I'm excited to not have so much X books because I'm not going to continue reading every ongoing. Once this is done, I was only reading it for the crossover. I was going to get the hardcover, then I found out they raised the price from $75 to $100, so I might wait on that. Yeah,
but it's coming out in like January though, right?
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? It's not. It doesn't have the same feeling like House and Powers did. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I gotta get it. So I may not even ever get it. Well, who knows? Or I'll just wait for a soft cover. It's not like a story I care to have in hardcover. But then there's also a new Love and Rockets, which I just started picking up the actual magazines, even though I read it in trade, just because I want to support the creators, you know. Yeah. And then new Amazing Spider-Man, which has been really good lately.
Last Rights.
Yeah, it's been pretty solid, dude. I'll say that. He won me back. Nick Spencer has won me back to the title because I'm really loving this story arc. We learned the identity of Kindred, who has been this like shadowy villain for the whole story, and learning who it is and the dynamic he has with Peter. It's just very. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't read it, but it's very good.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna check it out. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, that's pretty much it. But Daredevil, holy crap, I'm fucking excited now. The fuck.
Yeah,
fucking Daredevil.
It is so good. It's definitely one of Marvel's best books. I mean, if I had to pick one Marvel book, I think I'd pick Daredevil to read. Yeah. As much as I love Hickman and I like what he's doing on X-Men, like
there's just so much.
If I had to drop every Marvel book and only keep one, it would be the Daredevil for sure, because it's just been so solid from beginning to now, you know?
Yeah.
And like we said, next week we're doing Flash by Joshua Williamson, Volume 1.
Yeah, that's going to be great. I can't wait.
Yeah, which I'll
be hosting that week.
Yes. And if you're not already following us, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. You can follow Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. And throw your comments or suggestions down below. Or email us at thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. And make sure you hit the subscribe button on whatever you're listening to us on, whether it's the YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. We're on all that. And hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new episode goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.